It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. With me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght over at Moose Jaw. Shawn, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thanks, Gary.
Excellent. I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how's it going?
It's going great.
Awesome. We got a great show for you tonight. We have Brad McCulley with us from the Rochester Knighthawks. We're going to talk a little bit about upcoming season. We're going to talk about summer ball and a few other things to go with it. So that's going to be exciting. We have some talk about CBA, which seems to be our weekly chat on it, and hopefully we can make some more sense out of it. And a whole lot of other stuff. We have Super Six to discuss also. But just before we get rolling on all of that, just a reminder to everybody that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, also Instagram Live. And we're back on Spotify, guys. Remember to hit subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliate shows on the Streampunk Entertainment Network, like Fly Like an Eagle, combat shows, Streampunk Cinema, CFL, soccer, NFL, you name it, we got it. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the shows on YouTube at Streampunk Sports, at Streampunk Cinema, at Streampunk Combat, or, of course, at All Lacrosse All the Time. If you happen to get on to All Lacrosse All the Time, please remember also we have our library of shows, interviews, as well as a whole host of retro games and more coming all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkent.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also, our show is brought to you by 60. 60 is more than just a number. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports and uniform teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflect the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and excellence sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Also, add Lax Talk 10 for a 10% discount on your order. To get a hold of them, number one, you can do the QR code on the screen. Number two, you can hit them on Instagram at @sweet_60. You can email them at where'd it go? There it is, info.sweet60@gmail.com. Or you can go onto their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. All right, without further ado, allow me to introduce our guest this week. And it is a good friend of mine, Mr. Brad McCulley. Brad, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me on. Really excited to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure as always. I loved watching you this summer. It was just so great to see you up in Peterborough. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. But first off, congratulations. Brad just got engaged.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. That'd be awesome. I was hoping I'd get to mention it because I think I'd get yelled at if I didn't. But yeah, just got engaged in Pittsburgh this weekend. So I'm actually still here. I'm still in Pittsburgh. I'm sitting in a parking lot outside of Acrisure Stadium, and she's inside at the restaurant. So we're just getting the interview going and kind of getting home tonight, but we'll see.
It's a true lacrosse move. Yep. Right?
Yeah. Excellent stuff.
I'll be out here talking.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since we've talked to you on the show and stuff. And, the last time, we were congratulating you for a championship in Buffalo. And, a lot's happened since then. Talk to me about, first off, you leave Buffalo, you get moved off to Vancouver, who was up and coming. And there was so much good stuff there, but things didn't quite click in Vancouver. Talk a little bit about your move out to Vancouver.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I was in Buff, obviously, and just business side of things. I ended up getting traded. They, I guess, put a decent offer together that Buffalo liked, and Buffalo told me, by no means that I was on the block or anything of that nature, but just the business side of it, it was a good offer, and it was a good offer. So I went to Vancouver, and I was super flattered, just one, because obviously, like everybody knows, Kurt Malosky, Mouse, is like the man. He's a top-level coach. He's probably, honestly, a top 3 coach in the league by far, and GM as well. But, I went out there, and I loved playing for him. It was amazing. Like, I learned so much from him. It's insane, just the way he sees the game and his film sessions and the way the players are treated and everything in Vancouver it's top tier. It's a fantastic organization, and I did like it. I think the travel was getting to be a bit much. Like, obviously I'm from Victoria, so it probably should have worked out, but unfortunately just life stuff gets in the way, and I wasn't going to be able to make the move and get back home. My fiance now is American and more so on the East Coast, and she's got a good job and good thing going. And I never really ended up leaving Buffalo. I had to leave Buffalo for a little bit, just for probably 3 or so months ish, just because of the visa stuff.
Mhm.
And just the travel and everything really wasn't going to work. And Vancouver had some personnel changes and stuff like that was maybe pushing me out of a spot or into it. I was playing a little defense and just kind of doing whatever I could to help the team, and it just didn't really end up working out, which is whatever. It's no one's fault. It's just how it goes. And like I said, Mouse always treated me like gold, and he was nothing but open and honest and great to deal with. And just with the travel and different stuff, thankfully he moved me to Rochester, which is an hour down the road.
Right.
And I got to kind of reunite with some good friends of mine, like Ryan Smith. Me and him went to university together. He's been a
Mhm.
best friend of mine for the last 8 years. So it's been fun to play with him. And Roch is a great room. Like, all the boys in the room are fantastic, and the organization is awesome. Like Dan Carey and Hazer and Kyle and Patty O'Toole, like everybody on the bench is awesome. And I mean, I had a bit of a different scenario playing wise last year. I was holdout list, and then I signed a practice roster spot, kind of hoping I would make my way onto the team a bit. And I thought I played okay, but as soon as I got there, we went on a bit of a heater. Like, I think we won like 6 or 7 straight. So
Right.
it's like they obviously weren't touching the lineup, and I respected that. I was happy to be there. I was just happy with everything going on, and happy to be back playing kind of closer to home, and had the visa and everything, and wasn't having to fly 5.5 hours to go to
That's the big
practice and
one
everything
too.
like
Yeah.
that. Right. So, yeah, so it was good. And like I said, I wouldn't, diss Vancouver at all or anything like that. They were top notch, and they made the travel and everything as easy as possible. But I think it's safe to say that playing for Rochester and living in Buffalo is quite a bit more convenient. So,
Yeah, I would say almost ideal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just, it was the right move, and thankfully it worked out. So it's good. And I mean, I'm a free agent right now. So obviously we got to get all the CBA stuff worked out, and I'd love to be back in Rochester. I've had some talks with them, so I'm hoping to get back there and
Mhm.
play again. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I think you'll find a way in there somehow.
Yeah,
I want to talk a little bit
hopefully.
about that team though. Because what did Dan Carey and Mike Hazen say to you when they brought you in? What was their idea for you? Because again, in Vancouver, you kind of had a role that was all over the place. Buffalo, you were there to do a lot of the grinding and a lot of, well, still got the goals in there, but you did a lot of the extracurricular grinding. You got Tyler Biles there. You got a few other guys there. You don't have to be the fisticuff guy. You can be back to offense and
Mhm.
really, do what you showed again in the summertime.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. I think, yeah, Buffalo, I had a bit of a different role. Obviously, I mean, like, that offense is just, it's fantastic, as everyone knows. So I was totally good with doing whatever I could to stay in the lineup. I actually didn't really know I was, I didn't really know I had the fighting thing behind me. I did it a few times in junior, but whatever. I did what was asked of me in that offense, so I could stay in the games and play. And I didn't mind it. Dane and Josh and all the boys there are still like some of my closest friends. So
Mhm.
after a while, it was almost like, I was just protecting your brother at that point. Like, that's kind of how I saw it. So that's maybe where that came from. And then Vancouver, yeah, Vancouver was a bit different. I think I didn't really have to do any of that, and that's not really the style that Mouse is coaching either. Like, they didn't want me to go in there and have to handle anything. They were cool if I did, or like if I needed to. But it was very it's very systems based. I think anybody who knows Mouse will know he's big X's and O's guy, and
Yeah.
like they're all fantastic. But um so I was doing a bit of the pick work in his and Slip's offense and everything, which is fine. And then getting to Rochester was kind of the same. Like, they told me, they're like, hey, like, it's maybe been a bit of a wild ride for you the last year and a half trying to going from winning a championship and then like basically not really having a job and everything and all that, it's just a bit different. It's how the league goes, and there's talent everywhere. But they kind of told me, they're like, hey, like, like we know what you can bring to the table. You can score, you can set great picks, you can create space, you can fight if you got to fight, you can do all that, and you can kind of be just a yeah, I don't know, just a worker kind of in the offense, right? Like, obviously, I know I'm not going to get all the touches like Fieldsy, Smithers, and T-Mac and Lanchbury. Like, we got a bunch of really, really good ball carriers. And honestly, I don't want the ball. I don't need to carry it. I'd rather. I played with Fieldsy for a year in Buffalo, and we actually worked pretty well together. He just got in way more than I did, which is fair. It was him, Kluch, and Josh Byrne, and I was a rookie, so it was pretty tough to crack that side. But I'd rather not have the ball. So them just telling me, you can come in here and we know what you bring to the table. They literally told me, they're like, just play. Like, just play and see how it goes. We have full confidence in you. We know what you can do. You know what your job is and what you're comfortable with. Like, they're like, just get in here, play. And they were like, well, I'm sure we'll find a way to fit you in somehow. And that didn't happen, but whatever. Like I said, the team was they went on a heater. We couldn't touch what the roster was, which is totally fair. But they gave me, nothing but confidence. They're like, just consider it a fresh start, and we have confidence in you. Come in, play, have fun, enjoy yourself again, and let's just see kind of where it goes.
Right. Well, I think this summer in Peterborough also would be another idea of what they're going to do with you in Rochester, of course, with Hazer being the GM and coach. And you setting picks, well, you set picks that sent guys into a month away. There were some just amazing picks that you set.
Yeah, that Timmy Edwards one against Six Nations, that was tough. I played golf with Timmy the week after that. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you that big.
Yeah, well, his uniform went one way and he went the other way, and it just was.
I saw the video of it. I was like, sorry, man.
Yeah, sitting from the alumni and watching it actually, you can actually see the divide. It was, it was just pretty wild. But that kind of idea, I think, with them there, and you also showed your scoring ability. Peterborough, you really did take the bull by the horns, and you showed a lot of us what we already knew, and you showed a whole new crowd what you can do. Let's talk about getting into Peterborough and just feeling comfortable there. And it looked like you were just made for that kind of environment.
Yeah, I loved everything about Peterborough. And, like, obviously, being a Victoria guy, like, growing up and playing for the Shamrocks and everything there has been what I always wanted to do. And I think maybe last year I played, like, the 5 games for the Shamrocks and then just came home for playoffs because I didn't want to leave my girlfriend in Buffalo all summer long alone. And Victoria was nothing but nice about that. They understood kind of what my situation was and everything of that nature. But I think the last 2 years playing there, it just really wasn't kind of working the way I'd like it to. I think I was losing some confidence and not really sure what my role was. Didn't really kind of have a scoring nor ball carrying role, and I was playing offense, and it just wasn't really going that well. And I was struggling a bit. I just couldn't really kind of click and make it fit. So this summer they kind of phoned me and they were like, are you going to be able to make it back full time? And I was like, nope, no chance. And they were like, okay, well, I think we're probably going to have to look at some different options just with what we're looking for. And I was like, yeah, I get it completely. I was like, and then thankfully the week before I got traded to Rochester, actually Hazer reached out and had said like, hey, I heard you're in Buffalo all summer. Like, we need a lefty in Peterborough if that's going to be something that you're interested in, like somebody that, kind of brings to the table what you bring. They're like, we could really use that. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, we'll see. I don't have a visa or anything like that. So I wouldn't be able to go back and forth. And I haven't really talked to the Shamrocks yet. And then a week later, they trade for me and I get the visa and he texts me and he's like, so how about Peterborough now? And I was like, yeah, that'll work. I was like, I like your style, Hazer. I was like, that's awesome. So I was like, solve one problem. And then, So I was like, you know what, I'm in. I was like, that sounds really good. I can go and just play lacrosse without kind of, having my plate so full just with kind of worrying about what was going on back there and leaving her in Buffalo and everything. Like I really wasn't doing anything for me on the floor. I just had too much going on. So And Peterborough is awesome, as you obviously know, like with all the fans and everything, the history there and the coaching staff and all the boys, like it was such a blast. And as much as it was similar to Victoria, it was also just so different, just the
Mhm.
style of it and everything of that nature. Um, and yeah, kind of same thing. Like even Hazer just told me, he's like, just go in and play. Like, there's obviously like Holden was like our dominant lefty who carries the ball a lot, and like Rezzy's over there too. But it didn't really matter. Like it was just get in there, play. And I think the thing for me is I just started having fun again. Like
Yeah.
I started having fun again, and then when I started having fun again, my confidence skyrocketed because I wasn't thinking about anything like that, and
Mhm.
I was just excited to play again, I think. And there's like, I mean, it was just a rough, whatever it was, a year and a bit for whatever I was doing with lacrosse and everything. And I think I was still just kind of hung up on like winning a championship in Buffalo, then maybe getting traded and
Right.
whatever it was for me. But I just started having fun again, and that's all it was. So thankfully, I kind of got the scoring touch back a bit. I scored on my first shot, which I was really happy about because I was like, well, now we're not just like 3 games in hunting for a goal with the Lakers kind of thing. Just get it out of
Mhm.
the way. And TK is a pretty easy guy to play for. It's nothing too crazy, and I like playing with all the boys like Holden and Mike and Tate and Sykesy as well when we got him, and then like Rezzy's awesome over there. Braden Saris is incredible. Like, we got Pager and Hoagie. Like it was a really fun offense to play in. And then our defense was good. Like it was just a blast. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just kind of where the confidence came back, and I needed it. I needed a change of scenery. So it really benefited me.
Right. It's also, when you're in Peterborough, we had a number of chats after the game in the bar there. The crowd, number one, there's such a huge crowd, 3 or 4 thousand people a game, but they're knowledgeable, and you have a lot of the legends of the game that are still there that are happy to chat with you about yesteryear and things going on or things going on in the game there. So you have a lot of, shall we say, intelligent conversations post game over a couple of beers too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even like I always thought it was cool, like seeing like John Grant Sr. there and everything like that, and he's handing out the. I wanted to be the JP Weiser's player of the game so bad one time, and I don't think I ever got it. I would get like 3, and somebody would get 5. Like I just always
Mhm.
get outshined. But yeah, like that is exactly it. Like you see, like that building. It's not just like clapping for goals. Like they see a guy get like a meaningful ground ball and like work his ass off to do so, and
Mhm.
the crowd's losing it for that and like everything of that. So you can tell like they love lacrosse, and it was just a riot to be up there. And like I said, the history, like you got TK and everything, who's obviously just like a legend there, and like all the stories and everything as well. Like it was cool. It was awesome. I'd love to be back there next year. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. And one of my prized possessions became that jersey above my head now.
Yeah,
Your Canada Day jersey, of course, and
yeah.
you know,
Those
love
are
that story
sweet. Yeah.
Canada Day games. Sweet jersey too. Eh?
Oh yeah, those are awesome. I mean, our jerseys, the look up there is really good, but those jerseys were sweet.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you've had the benefit of playing in some of the greatest barns now with Peterborough, with Victoria, with Bandit Land, things like that. So you've had the best of all worlds, really, in all different angles. So it must be a real, to get that extra energy buzz has to be just something special.
Yeah, I've lucked out so far. It's been insane. Like obviously Buffalo is completely nuts, and winning a championship there was insane.
Yeah.
And then Victoria has always been amazing, and I grew up going to those games, and in Vic it's like on a Friday night a lot of people just, it's like, what are you doing? No, I'm just going to go to the Rocks game and hang out, have a couple of beers and see what's going on afterwards. And so I think that's why. And obviously you get all the kids there and all the minor associations around Victoria. So that barn's awesome. And then, yeah, and then Peterborough is really, really cool. And the Mem Center is super cool. Just as, just the style of it and everything. You just feel like everyone's like right on top of you. It's
Yeah.
kind of awesome. But, yeah, I mean, it's even Vancouver, like the first year I was playing there, I think like I had one lame experience and that was it. And it was the first game. I think I went from like I played Colorado in Buffalo and we had 19,000 people. And then I think I played Calgary in Vancouver and there was like 6,500 and I was like and I
Mhm.
think that was it. But then after we started winning in Vancouver, we were getting like 10 plus, I believe, and it looked amazing. And that building is awesome too. Like they're super knowledgeable fans as well. So it was kind of like Peterborough where, you could tell the people who are showing up really care about the game. And then Rochester's great too. I mean, I haven't played there yet, but just like I like it when the Blue Cross Arena is like packed and good. Like it's a sweet barn, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, my ears buzzed for a couple of those championships. With that low ceiling, it gets real loud in there real quickly. So
Oh yeah, and it's cool. It's just it's a good spot.
you also have a really knowledgeable base there too. So to talk to a bunch of people in and around the arena before or after the game, you'll find that they're just a really great crowd.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Like they're an awesome crowd, and it is funny too because I do a bit of coaching in Buffalo still, and I did when I was playing for the Bandits, and you do all the junior Bandit stuff. And my girlfriend coaches women's lacrosse in Buffalo as well, and you just hear about like obviously Rochester is dominant in lacrosse, and especially
Mhm.
high school age lacrosse and everything. Like even in Buffalo, like our you'll win the city or whatever they do, and then that team gets to go play a Rochester team, and it's like the best team in Buffalo gets beat like 21-6 by the Rochester team, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So they obviously got some skill up there, up in Roch, and obviously closer to Cuse and everything like that too. But yeah, no, exactly the same. Like super knowledgeable people who absolutely know what they're talking about. And I think that's obviously why that team got saved over
Mhm.
the summer as well, because there's a lot of people who really care about Rochester being or lacrosse being in Rochester.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty awesome spot.
So the next thing we have to do is get you on to the Laxney team with the Rochester Bats and get Cooper to get you because
Yeah, I was going to this summer actually, but I was rehabbing a couple things, and I was a little nervous about playing. But me and Coop have had some good conversations.
yeah, he's I think he holds the standing record for being on the show. I think he's been on 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, he's a
Back.
beauty.
Mike and I go back a ways. So,
Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
and we say I just had Chase Fraser on a week ago, and we are talking about
Nice.
that as well. Yeah, as well as talking about the Harlem Globetrotters, Buffalo Bandits offense,
Yeah,
and driving
he
JT
leads
insane
the
with it.
charge.
Well,
Every
yeah,
goal he scored in that final series was ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
I
he's
mean,
I
as you
call him
guys know, but it's just insane.
yeah, I just call him a human highlight reel because everything goes to Sports Center just as soon as he touches the ball.
Well,
ESPN's
it's
all of a
funny
sudden
too
goes,
because like that's all like off the cuff for him too, because we'll go shoot Wednesday and Friday, and we got a goalie there and everything, and he doesn't do anything crazy. Like he's coming across the top, and it's just short side, reach far, and he scores a lot. But then you see him play, and you're like, where does this come from? Like it doesn't make any sense.
right, right. Let me bring you over to some of the guys, see if they have some questions for you. Sean, any questions for
Yeah.
Brad?
I'm just kind of curious, kind of with that championship with Buffalo. I'm curious, what does that do for you, like personally as a player, like with confidence wise, and just kind of knowing, what it takes to win a championship?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, well, I went to the finals in my first year in the league, and we lost to Colorado, and I played 4 or 5 games that season. And I think even just like not so much playing wise, but just being around those guys and everything about that situation, obviously it was pretty valuable, but I think I was still like just too young to really kind of understand like what it was. But when I won the second one, like I got to play in all those games. I think I missed the first three, and then I played all those games. So I felt like I'd really kind of came into something, and it was awesome. And I thought it was really fun, obviously. And but I think just yeah, kind of as a player, I was younger, so I think it was just kind of looking around and just seeing all the vets and everything, and like you see like Dane and Bucky and Vino and Pre and all those guys, and you're like, wow, like because that was the first championship. Like obviously Vino is one of few, but that was the first one that Buffalo had won in
Mm-hmm.
quite some time. And like you just see like Dane and Josh and all those guys, and you're like, I was kind of sitting there and I was like, oh, it's not that hard, is it? Like, yeah, I was like, we just, we're the best team in the league. We just go win. And then you see these other guys, and like, I have been working my ass off for 9 years in this league and just coming up short all the time trying to accomplish this. So it was obviously awesome, and I would love to win more of them. But I think, yeah, I was pretty young in the sense of like, not so much being like, oh, I have so much experience and this is why I got to this point. Like, we were just an unbelievable team that I was a small part of. And like, obviously I got to play, but I think now taking it, obviously, I think I know what a championship caliber team is supposed to look like and how they're supposed to act and how they're supposed to mesh and everything of that nature. And I can confidently say that Rochester's room is very, very similar to that first championship that we had with Buffalo. Like, just the banter and the friendship and just like the talent level, obviously, and kind of a younger core growing up together a bit and getting the experience and getting better and
Right.
better. I think Rochester right now is very similar to what that was.
Right.
Awesome.
Character.
Thank you.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Mike, any questions for Brad?
You're muted,
Mike,
Mike.
you're muted. You're muted, Mike.
Sorry, my dog was barking earlier.
Sounds
I'll
like the
actually
refs in the Green Bay game.
I'll actually piggyback a bit off Shawn's question. You know, being one of the guys on the Knighthawks, one of the handful of guys with championship experience, you know, how do you feel about, you know, being able to bring that into the team? Like, do you feel any added pressure? Do you feel like the guys, you know, might be coming to you for advice on how to handle that?
That's another good question. No, not necessarily. Just because Rochester has so many like amazing vets, and I know like I'll be 29 in January, so it's not like I'm young in this league by any means. Like, and I know I'd like to play till 35 or whenever my body says no, but I think like you just have so many guys with so much experience. Like, you know, we got Coatsy as our captain, and then you got like a Curtis Knight, and like there was Turner Evans, and like we just had a really good group of vets there that I think obviously take the pressure off of me for having to do that. That being said, like I honestly like, yeah, I can say like this is exactly kind of, you know, what this is supposed to look like, kind of going off of Shawn's question and my answer there. It's like, you know, I think I can help in that sense, but maybe not so much of like the, oh, this is what we need to do and we need to be here and there. Like, I still feel like I don't have that much experience in that nature. It's probably more than I think it is, but um, just kind of exactly like knowing kind of what the room's supposed to feel like and how you're supposed to, you know, care about those guys around you. I think that's maybe what I can bring, and I can say that Rochester is pretty close. But yeah, it's weird. And I'm not trying to make this a very long answer, but it's just, yeah, I think I was just so young that I don't want to completely take it for granted with the championship thing, and I still look towards the vets all the time. And like, there could be a guy who's played in the league for 13 years and doesn't have a championship, and I would say with confidence that he obviously knows more than I do. So like, that's kind of where my head's at with it.
Right. Do you see yourself as the guy who would take somebody under your wing and kind of show them the way, you know, like a Whitcomb or something like that, to help him stay in the NLL level? Because the guy's got a massive talent. Just needs that extra little influence to maybe be able to stick with the team.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And I would help anybody. Like, if you're one of my teammates, then I'll care for you like you're my brother. That's just kind of how I am, and how I at least want to be. But I think, I mean, I would like to be considered one of the guys who would be, maybe, I don't know, if a rookie came up to me and was like, you know, how do I stay in this league? I'd be like, I'm still figuring it out too. I didn't play any games last year, so like, I'm like, if you figure it out, then you tell me, because like I mean, like, guys that took me under their wing were like Josh and Dane, like living in Buffalo, obviously, like, and they're still two of my closest friends now. But, you know, Josh and Dane took me under their wing big time, and when I was in Buffalo, and I think it is really, really important, like, for, you know, this is my 5th year in the league now. Like, you know, if you can show a kid who comes in, like, I went to university, I did all the workouts and everything of all that nature, but like, someone's got to show you how to be a pro, and you know what it takes, and how it's going to be, and this is what you got to do during the week, and you got to get this handled, and maybe get this air points or airline points credit card, you know, right now, and start doing this and little stuff. So for sure, like, someone's definitely like, you can't just walk in as a rookie and be really good. Someone's got to show you how to do this. And I think you probably hear about it more in the NHL, because these guys are like, hey, I just got a $900,000 paycheck. So it's maybe a little different for NLL, but Josh and Dane had to show me how to be a pro. Like, we go to the gym these days and this is what we're doing. And you can do the recovery this way and you get that covered and all the other stuff. So for sure, I would help out any young guy that wanted it. I'm kind of doing it with my younger brother at this point now. And he's hoping to be invited to a camp, and he got cut from Vegas last year. But even with kind of everything he's doing, I'm sending him the workout plans. I'm like, you got to do this and stop eating cheeseburgers and all that. You know what I mean? So just get a bowl at Chipotle, not the burrito. Like,
Nice.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
probably the
all
best
that
one
stuff.
of all the guys to answer this question, but the difference between WLA and MSL, since you've had good runs with both, with Victoria and their record 18-0, you were part of that, with Peterborough and their big run here this year, and really had a great second half push. And really the only losses that Six Nations saw before the Man Cup was Peterborough. So, those are big things. But the difference between the two leagues and why it's so lopsided that WLA just can't, no matter what they do and how we change rules, can't get over the hump and win a cup.
Yeah. Also a great question. Because I've thought about it before. It's like, I don't know, the West is pretty technical. Like, there's a lot of skill, and there's a lot of skill in the East as well. But it's just like, it's weird to explain. It's a different style of play. The West, and even when you see it East versus West in NLL, like, you can just tell, like, the East kind of, I don't know. If you look down the line, like, if New West really wanted to make that Man Cup a line brawl every game, they were probably going to lose the fight and the game. You know what I mean? Like, I think Eastern just kind of, there's a certain grit to it that is, like, you just don't really get it so much in the WLA. Whereas, you're waxing somebody and, like, nobody's going to try and rip your helmet off and fight you. No one's getting sent out. Whereas, like, in the East, you start waxing somebody and out of nowhere it's a line brawl and they don't care. You know what I mean? So I think, and no disrespect to the WLA whatsoever, because there are some fantastic players there and obviously very, very good coaches and everything of that nature. But, and I think it's safe to say the East, they have a grit about them. That's just, you could play the same game, but if you got grittier guys, it's just going to go a bit differently. You know what I mean? And that's probably it. I think it's just grit. Like, even when I was with Victoria, we had the Six Nations last year, like in that Man Cup. Like, obviously Six Nations was stacked, but like if we wanted to go in there and fight every game, it was going to be like it was going to be tough to match that. So I think it's just the grit probably is the big one.
Right. It's funny because I love summer ball. I love it more than watching NLL, and the production value of the NLL is a million times better than anything I see in the summer. But the game itself, I love the game in the summer. I just think, again, it's a grittier game, it's a quicker game, but you don't get as many goals, so it's more of an on your edge of your seat kind of. Holy smokes! Did you just see that kind of a game?
Yeah. It's just impossible to score in the summer. That's the problem. It's
well,
crazy.
4x4 doesn't help either, right?
Yeah, it's so hard to score in the summer. A lot of shots you take in the NLL that might go, there's just no chance in the summer. So yeah, it's entertaining for sure because everyone you got to try so much harder to get that thing in the back of the net.
Which is why I wish we'd have better marketing around, because to see Brampton with like 100 people, for $10, man, you're seeing NLL games. It's like,
I know.
God, how we can get this out, the secret out, it's bewildering to me.
It is tough. Well, I mean, with the WLA too, to play full screen stuff, it's terrible. Yeah. It's like, just get it on YouTube and make it free.
Absolutely. Yeah. The more the merrier. And if we can get everybody to see it and they'll see what they're missing, it's like, I've never, ever taken anybody to a game anywhere where they wanted their time back.
No, 100%. Yeah. Everyone's always like, this is nuts. I got to watch more of this. You're like,
yeah, that's usually the question. How can I get to another game? When can we go to another? Where are we going?
Yeah, you get tickets for these? Absolutely.
Yeah. Come on along. I'm in a different city every night. Come with me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I need a co-pilot.
Exactly. Some of those are long rides back.
Oh yeah, Peterborough's no.
Peterborough at midnight's awful fun down to 115.
Yeah, no fun, but whatever. At least you're jacked up and awake after a game.
True, very true.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon down the road a little bit for Brad? Is it coaching? Is that something that you're interested in to kind of move yourself into?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know about any high level or anything like that. I mean, I would love to one day, but we'll see. I love coaching now. I coach a little bit of high school when I can, and just kind of volunteering there. It's interesting because obviously being in Buffalo, it's more field lacrosse. Like I miss coaching box a lot because I think I understand box better, to be entirely honest with you. But yeah, I would like to coach, or now I'm engaged, so I can get a green card and probably get a job. So I'm sure that'll be on the horizon for me.
Absolutely. Listen, I don't want to keep you. You know, your soon-to-be wife is in having dinner, and we don't want you to be
Yeah,
on dessert before you get
she'll
dinner.
be waiting soon here.
Just wondering how much we're talking.
Yeah, she can watch the show. She'll be like, great interview. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to congratulate you on that. I want to congratulate you on a great summer. I'm looking forward to seeing you play in the NLL again this year with Roch. I can't wait to see you part of that team, because I think you're going to add just another dimension to the Knighthawks, and the crowd there is just going to eat up your game.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to it as well. And yeah, like I said kind of before, I'm happy I kind of refound some confidence and everything, because I wasn't really sure exactly where the lacrosse career was going to go, but I'm quite pleased at the direction it's heading at the moment. And I hope I can just keep working and keep making it work. And I love being in Rochester, and I'm hoping it works out.
And Brad, of course, is one of my biggest fans for retro games, and I got a couple going into on Tuesday. So, a couple of weeks from now, I'll have more retro games for you to take a look at on all Lacrosse all the time.
Awesome. My dad will be stoked. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great one.
All right.
The Canadian party, a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, absolutely. I forgot about that part. I should probably FaceTime the family tonight.
Well, you got a couple hours since they're in BC, so it's just just coming on dinner time there. So
yeah, I should be okay. I got a few to play with.
All right, Brad, take care.
Right, thanks,
Hopefully we have a
guys.
CBA to
Appreciate it.
talk about this week, and then we're into training camps and everything goes rolling.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All
Thanks,
right,
Brad.
take care.
Goodbye.
That was Brad McCulley. What a great guy. Him and I go back a little ways now, a number of years now, but always very generous with his time on and off the floor. Just a guy, another one who just pulled for to do well. And it's just the epitome of what we talked about this before. It's the epitome of what lacrosse is. This is the spirit of lacrosse. As hard as you can for 60 minutes, but an absolute, spokesman for the game outside of the floor. And, the ideas, the values, and all the other things, character. I always come back to that, don't I? Character.
Yeah.
That's what this league is going to sustain itself on, is character. And we have so many guys with character in this league that it's heartwarming. Anyways, before I get too far off topic here, just a reminder to everybody, happy Thanksgiving if you are in Canada. If you're in the U.S., I'll say that next month. Sorry, Mike. We're going to have a turkey, strangle a bird or something like that. But, And what better way to celebrate Thanksgiving than to have World Lacrosse Super Sixes in Oshawa? And that's exactly what we had this weekend. And, well, congratulations to the Team Canada men who beat the USA 16-12 today for the gold medal. Notice a lot of those familiar faces there.
Yes.
There's a lot of rock players there. I've seen Latrell. I've seen Owen Hiltz. CJ Kirst was on the USA team. That's a lot of rock guys there. Certainly does bode well. If we don't have a goalie, though, you're going to have to score about 86 goals to. We might have the firepower to do that. Anyways, the Haudenosaunee won bronze today as well. In the women's side.
I had my Blue Jays stuff on. I had my Blue Jays stuff on. I tried to hope it would.
There we go. Canada women. They won the Canada Red won the gold. Canada White, I believe, won the bronze. And Australia fit in between with the silver before I lose total transmission again. But we're used to this. It lasted this long, and thank goodness for that. The Jays are on, right? So, of course.
That's what I was saying. I got my Jay stuff on. I was hoping to butter up Rogers a little bit here, but apparently not.
There you go. Nice. I'm living the dream. I totally get it. I totally get it. And of course, being out in Utica, I love that place. I love that place. And, I hope to make it out there a little bit more. It's a little far, but, have car will travel. You know me. I will find a way to, gas her up and go. I was out in Oshawa last night too, just to, if the tournaments weren't enough already, just to go out there and watch a Metallica cover band. Just a little light classical music for me. I thought classical. It's all the same, right? Yeah. Anyways, a little bit of news in the NLL. First off, Andrew McBride is back with the Colorado Mammoth behind the bench, defensive coordinator and assistant GM. That is a good move from Colorado, definitely. The big one, of course, was the trade that Ottawa pulled off, and they now have Rob Hellier. But did they give up too much, am I thinking? Cam Dunkerley, Dustin Burkhoff, Andrew Dalton, and a conditional second-round pick. Mike, what do you think?
I mean, I think it seems like a lot, but only because maybe Dunkerley is included.
Personally, I really like Dustin Burkhoff. The guy is a tree. He is a house and has good hands too, but he is tough as nails. He will really bring some extra oomph to that San Diego lineup that they haven't seen in a while. And I think that they can withstand the loss of Rob Hellier, though I believe Hellier led them in assists last year. But I just think that, and Cam Dunkerley, as in the backup role there, not too bad. Not too bad. But I tend to, he's not going to get much playing time with Higgins, right? Over in Ottawa.
True.
But doesn't Ottawa kind of put themselves in a corner now? They've gotten rid of two goalies that are both NLL start caliber in the name of Zach Higgins.
Maybe, but I also wondered if, sure, there are signs that point to the possibility of Nick Rose returning to Toronto, but if Toronto doesn't decide to sign him, should Ottawa take a flyer out on him to have as a backup?
It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Good point.
I just don't see Goa.
But would
That's
take
the
a
answer?
back roll?
Goa? Because Holochuk, I don't know if that's the answer. Sam Haynes, they're never giving him an opportunity, so I don't think that's the answer. I think I've gone through all the goalies in the Toronto system. It's not like they're a plenty out there. Do they make a deal with Rochester and get Hutchcraft back? I don't know. But I almost see it being a painted corner that they're going to get Rose back, and we'll find out probably Thursday or Friday if free agency opens up then, that you'll see, well, if that happens, get your pens ready because it's going to be a flurry. Because we're going to see 2 months' worth in a week is what we're going to see. Whoever didn't already sign back with their team have been waiting for this particular window, and it's just going to be a free-for-all. So it's kind of a bit backwards this year. One more bit of news before we get talking about why we're thinking about free agency opening up this week. This is a big one too, actually, is that the Las Vegas Desert Dogs signed a deal. I believe it's a 5-year deal with Fox 5 News and that station to be the official broadcast partner of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. So we're talking about trying to get the game out there, and they have figured out a way to get all their games out there to their local community. I'm jealous. They don't need Plus.
Yeah,
big move for them.
Now, another thing that I had heard this week, and it was kind of made me go, but it makes perfect sense for what I'm seeing and schedule wise, is that I heard that again, it's just it's rumor, but it was that Comcast decided to kind of pull the shoots on the wings, and they're not dealing with it anymore. But Joe Tsai has picked up on it and is doing it as a loan to whomever is going to pick the team up, unless it folds. So that's kind of an interesting idea that I had heard. I see it, I can understand it, and it makes perfect sense how they're getting these really strange dates, because if Comcast doesn't care, then of course they're going to be on the bottom end of the chute, kind of like the original, well, Team 2 of the Philadelphia Wings that wound up going into your house in Connecticut and wound up going over to Albany and now into Oshawa, and then ping, 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 the ping pong ball. But that doesn't sound great. But it opens the door for the move that we're all expecting, which again is terrific if you are a lacrosse fan in Ontario like me. It is terrific if you are one who loves rivalries like me, but not if you are a team like Jamie talked about last week on Lax Class about the gut punch with Oshawa and what is taken away from his base, because Buffalo takes away from the other side of his base. Well, if you put a team in Laval, I'm sure that Oshawa will a little bit into the Ottawa base, not much, but a wee bit, because it's still a couple hours away. But Laval isn't. Laval is like an hour. And that will be chewing into that base. So then that's when it becomes sticky. When you have them all on the same road, in the same, well, if I throw the map open to one page and you can go, there's a team, there's a team, there's a team, there's a team, there's a team. That's great for, fans like me who will drive all over the place and watch games everywhere because I love it. Not good if you're trying to put money into bank accounts, pay players, and do CBAs.
That's
True,
it,
but
right? It's just an oversaturating of a market, right? Like,
Exactly.
you can have a great fan base and knowledgeable fans, but if you got too many teams in one area,
We're looking at Laval,
what's it do?
Eddie. We're looking at Laval. That's been the rumors. I've heard Allentown too, but I can't understand that one. That would be a small arena in the middle of nowhere. That would might as well just sign a death warrant. Laval is close to Montreal. That would be part and parcel of a two-part deal. Is if they put a team in Laval, Montreal, you would get the Montreal crowd, you get some of the Ottawa crowd, but then you would get the people in Quebec City who it's the little brother syndrome. I've said it many times, and I apologize if I offend Quebec City, but they are not interested in a team unless Montreal has one. Then they can do it better. And then they will want one. And that will increase the rivalries with Halifax, Quebec City, Montreal, Ottawa, Oshawa, Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester. I haven't left the same road yet. All the same damn road. So that scares me a little bit. But as a fan, it's like, hey, this is awesome. But then you take a look at all the states that aren't doing anything, that are lacrosse-based, box lacrosse-based. I don't know why Detroit's not being looked at. I don't know why Charlotte's not being looked at. I don't know why some more of the Eastern Seaboard isn't being looked at, because they have all kinds of places. Buffalo and Colorado. There might be a third one if you look at Calgary making a profit, because they're still getting about $12,000 a game. Edmonton, we'd all love it, except that unless the Oilers sign off on it hockey-wise, they're not going there. That was the whole reason why they left in the first place. And that is a shame. I would think Winnipeg would be a terrific place for it, and in part with the Jets, because I think Winnipeg can house it beautifully, and there is so much lacrosse going on box-wise with the Manitoba Lacrosse Association. But again, why we're not looking at places like that is beyond me, and why we're putting it all in Ontario. Yes, Ontario is a hotbed, but there is only so much hotbed to go around, and there's only so many dollars in the hotbed bank accounts. that they're not going to be going to 3 different games in a weekend in 3 different cities. Not everybody is insane as I am. But, to spread it out a little bit more, when I take a look at some places, and why are we not looking at Minnesota again? Minnesota had a great fan base. They just didn't have a good arena deal. I'm sure that we could figure that out. Chicago, again, not the greatest ownership, but you had a good base and you had good crowd, and it's a hub. Again, that's another thing we talked about. Hubs to make it easy for players to get to. Not that they can take a plane, a jet, a train, a boat, a streetcar, rent a car, and then still have to walk 14 miles to the arena and then try and do it back again on a Sunday afternoon. Let's make it as easy as possible for players to get to these things, that they want to be there, and then they want to be in market. And then by being in market, the fans can get invested with their players, and that automatically draws them. And once again, stop doing this mill thing of the party. I love the idea of the party. I have posters from Mill of the party. Coors Light and the party, and that's a young Randy Mearns, a young John Tavares, and a few others. Right? But that is gone. We're not looking at that. We're looking at marketing to the younger kids so that they keep playing the game. And when they play and they're interested, then they bring mom and dad. They bring sister and brother. They bring grandpa and grandma. They bring uncle and aunt and all the other ones, and everybody else gets involved. And your base is young and grows with you. And then they have kids, and they're good. And that's how you have generational. This is how Peterborough works. That's why you have 4 different generations of people at a game. This is why you get 4,000 people in the summer when it's nice enough to go, half an hour up the road to Bancroft and be on the beach. But yet Memorial's still full because the Lakers are playing. That's why this works. We have these things in place up in Canada. U.S. is even more organized with U.S. box law. It just hasn't got the tentacles out far enough in my eyes to really get it going. You got it out in the West. We've talked with, we talked with Quinn McLaughlin, and, San Diego's got it down pat. We know in the East, Halifax, they got it down pat. Midwest, we know that in Saskatchewan, in Saskatoon, they've got it down pat with grassroots programs. We know that in Georgia, talking with John Arlotta, that, the programs there are coming, and you can see it with their fan base growing. It's no fluke why all of a sudden people decide they want to go to games. And as long as that's moving, then your fan base is growing. And if your fan base is growing, then you're making money. Now, come with it, of course, we need a TV deal. Well, in order to get that and have it of any substantial value, we need a lot of eyes on it. How do you do that? You go with the young kids and grassroots and invest in the grassroots programs. Will it happen overnight? No. Unfortunately, it won't.
You know what, Gary, I just want to say it's a good point you made too, but you're talking about grassroots, especially in Saskatchewan. What was the catalyst to that? It was the Rush moving to Saskatoon. And so the kids got to see it and say, hey, I want to give that a try. And I can tell you for a fact that enrollment numbers in lacrosse in Saskatchewan skyrocketed when the Rush moved here.
Yeah, you're right. Everything in the States is all about field. This is where U.S. Box Law needs to step in. They have done so much great in a few of the markets. And you can see it with the women's program and their box program. You can see it with the men's box program. You can even see it with the under 15s, and you see it with the under 19s, that these things are coming around. But as the word of marketing, this is the thing that keeps coming up, is marketing. If we don't market it and nobody knows about it, we
Panther
all live,
City.
Yeah, say we all.
This is a great example, yeah.
Panther City. They opened the doors, didn't market, didn't do anything. We heard firsthand from Eduardo, who went to games, that people were nearby and
Had
didn't know what
clue,
thing about it.
nearby, whatever it was, professional bull riding or gun shows, next door. And, oh, you have a lacrosse team here? Oh, we didn't know. And they live right in the city.
But you also take a look, Getty, at why PLL is getting playtime on TV is that the Rebels know how to market. When you're getting top-notch numbers on ABC against football for your championship game, you're doing something right. And it didn't happen overnight. Their first couple of years wasn't great, but it was decent. And every year it's gone up. And I think that the numbers on this one, if I didn't miss my guess right, basically equaled all the other ones combined. There was that much hype behind it and push behind it. And now at the Olympics, they're in full steam. Here in box, we're trying to figure out, gee, can we get a few more dollars this way, maybe a few that way? Are we going to sign this? Are we going to have a training camp? They're full steam ahead, and we're sputtering over here in box. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I mentioned that before, and I think Zed Williams is a prime example of getting Native players on there because of Seneca Nation being on there. Buffalo did this and really was able to tap into the Six Nations idea. If Rochester can do this as well and have more of a Native feel and have more people feel the ownership of their own there, I think that the sky's the limit and you're going to start seeing the 7, 8, 9,000 again to a game. I don't think they're far off of that, but I think they've done as much as they can with the fan base that they have there. Now they have to step over into the next realm and build. Again, it comes down to trial and error and marketing and not being afraid to fall on your face and get up and do it again. Because otherwise, how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
You know you're not going to get anybody to do it.
The Knighthawks also have Jake Pacino on their roster. So
right.
Yeah.
And then, you can cross that over and, hey, he plays PLL. He's only the long stick midi of the year, if I'm not mistaken now. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yep. And all these are just great marketing, especially, with the crossover PLL and NLL players like that. Well, if you want recognizable faces, one of the things that I had actually sent to Oliver Marty about the adding, to do ads for Oshawa, and they actually just put one out going for season ticket holders. Well, we're so overwhelmed. We thank you, but we'll be in touch in a couple of days. That's great news. That means people are eating it up. One of my ideas for him was a billboard in the center of Oshawa with the arena and Dyson Williams right on the front, because Dyson Williams, of course, is from Oshawa, not a few blocks away from the stadium. In fact, I was in front of it last night, just after I got out of my show. Thing looks very nice. But anyways, I had that with a big sign across saying shop local, and then some Firewolves players in uniform off to the side. Just enough to get people talking. And in a month's time, take that down and put a little more information. And on that sign, of course, season tickets called blah, 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 Firewolves. That's all. Have people do their marketing for you. Have them start chatter because it's a white-hot idea. At the President's Cup, that's all people were talking about. People that didn't even know about it in bars were talking about it. So capitalize on it. If people are going to talk about it, capitalize on it. That's half the job, is getting people to talk about it. Now it's about getting dates and to getting people to know, have the specials out and all the other things. Then people get invested. Again, like we were talking with Brad, I don't know anybody who I've taken to a game over all my years of doing this who wanted their time back. The game sells itself. You just have to get the person to it. But as long as we're not doing that, the genie's still in the bottle. We're so close to that idea that you can touch it, but we're not doing it. Now, a bit of good news this week. Let's say we're always looking for a bit of good news. First, I'm going to go with what Steven Stamp put out a couple of days ago, and that was deal is closed between the NLL and NLPA. Anything agreed upon between negotiating groups will need to be ratified on both ends, but we could be close to the season being a go. And then, of course, we saw this one from Dawson G. Nelson. Season will proceed as scheduled. I still know that they need to be ratified. So I don't know if we're just we're a little bit ahead of it, but assuming that is be ratified early in the week, then yes, free agency can open as early as Thursday or Friday, pending, of course, approval, and then training camps open as per usual, either the 1st or 2nd or 8th or 9th. We get everything moving and we get everything going the way it's supposed to be. November 28th, Oshawa, Toronto versus Oshawa. And just an added extra little thing. Come say hello. I will be there. I probably will be in Buffalo the next night to watch the banner go up. And then we'll just keep going around all the arenas.
Do a lap.
And we're now in week 6.
A lap around the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Good question. I wish I had an answer for that one. You know, one thing I did want to mention.
we're gonna actually play the season, though. You know, I actually saw a lot of parody coming across there. Mind you, if you've been watching the shows lately, I've had everybody on the Bandits on. I think I've had from Gertler to Chugger to Chase to a former one with McCulley. You name it, I've had them on. So we still have Spanger and Orleman to get on the Sunday shows down the road a bit once we have CBAs in place, because guys are a little bit hesitant about talking about things at the moment. But, you know.
Yeah, just the only other thing I wanted to add. Looks like Shawn lost power too.
But strikes Canadians.
Yeah, which is funny because I think we're getting the well, I don't want to say the remnants, but a hurricane is running off. Yeah, there is a hurricane running up the coast of the Atlantic right now, and I'm just getting to the start of a window of storms here. So, but
right.
But I as much as I hate to bring out the double-edged sword on the advertising, to go back to Box needing to get the word out here, it's for all the PLL is doing with the growth and all that. We've said it before. They don't mention Box a whole lot. Not that they're obligated to, but they don't mention it a whole lot. So
they mention it none. They mention it none. It's kind of like WWE and mentioning any other territory never happened.
Exactly. So if you're a U.S. Boxla, it's kind of, hey, we're trying to grow the game all around, but you're not growing our version of the game. Again, PLL is not obligated to, but there can be that perception out there from U.S. Boxla's perspective that PLL is a bit of an enemy.
Yeah. Agreed. For this question here, I don't think they need time to gel together. I think they need a goalie. I think they have all the offense and defense in the world, and I think they have a great transition. Last year was a fluke of a year, just because they lost so many games by 1 goal. Easily, it could have been the other way around, and it would be a whole different story. However, did I think they had finishing power? No. Did they do it right? Yes, they traded away people and parts for first-round picks for this year and for next year. So the entire landscape changes. Now, here's the interesting thing. Do you take a powder this year and just go with what you have and go with one of those first-round picks that you have next year and scoop up an A-class goalie out of junior? And just kind of ride it now and hope that Goa or somebody else you pick up somewhere who's being cut in training camp will be there. And just see if you can outscore him and do something that way. I don't think it'll suit Jamie for what he needs.
That depends on who you are. If you're Tom Schreiber, you're probably not happy with that plan of action.
If you're Tom Schreiber, I don't even know if you're coming back.
No, but just, I guess I'm just, if you're any veteran, if you're Hostrauser or Burns or, just someone who, who's been in the league a long time and, your window on your playing career is short.
Right. Hang on, Mark. We're going to move here.
Yeah,
There
I
we
mean,
go.
you're not going to be thrilled with that plan.
No, I agree with that one. But is Rose the answer? Is signing Rose the answer? Is that the thing that's going to push you over the hump? You have all the firepower in the world.
I don't
You're
know at
young.
this. I mean, I don't know at this point.
Don't forget, you also have Josh Dalwick on there.
I hate to answer it.
Small.
I know I hate to answer it because it feels like I'm pigeonholing, Nick Rose into, hey,
Winner bust, right?
greatest goalie never to win a title or something like that. That territory. And no one wants to be in that territory ever.
No. And Nick is a great guy. He is a class goalie. He will be a Hall of Fame goalie. But for some reason, it just isn't there come playoffs with Buffalo. Buffalo has his number. And as long as his Buffalo band, his team, stays in this nucleus and JT is still there behind the bench, what's to say it's going to be any different?
I mean, you don't only have to play him once this year in the regular season, and it is at home.
Well, that's the regular season. As you said, Nick Rose, it's the playoffs that always.
It's not the regular season. Regular season, he's usually got the best goals against in the league, and he's also, usually it's him and Matt Vince for battling it out for who has the most wins. Usually, last year was a different year altogether for obvious reasons, but that's but come playoffs, that's when you see the Del Biancos, you see the Matt Vinces, the Bob Watsons, Dallas Eliaks, these guys. And is it I don't know, is it a fluke that they're all reactionary goalies? They're not positional goalies. Nick Rose is a positional goalie. He is going to go into and block the angle and do his very best at taking away the net from you. But if you have guys like Buffalo who zip that ball around so quickly that they can catch you going one way instead of the other way, and it's a goal. So, and if that's known, it used to be from behind the net, but Nick was able to work on that so nobody can score from behind him because he's able to get underneath that net now. Because I can't tell you how many goals I used to watch from guys diving from behind the net. And not to take anything away from him, is he has been rather agile for a big guy. I've watched him just make some incredible saves. But I don't know. It's also the Buffalo phobia. The whole team seems to just, even when they're winning, they just don't seem like they don't have the mentality that they're winning. Maybe with the new people that are coming in, the Owen Hiltz, the CJ Kirst, guys like that. Maybe that changes things up a little bit. Josh Dalwick had a career year last year. He had a great summer this year as the captain of the Oakville Rock. Do we just, watch that career just expand? There's a number of things that I find very positive of what's gone on in Rockland, Rock City, if you will. But again, it comes down to goaltending. And I'm not convinced yet. You can give me all the greatest players in the world. Buffalo, were they winning when Matt Vince was hurt? All the greatest players in the world, the Harlem Globetrotters of lacrosse. Did they win a game when Matt Vince was hurt? One game? No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Not one. Albany did it 2 years ago, except for one thing. The finals. When you needed veterans and you needed guys who've been there and guys who were there for the moment. Youth is great. And, sometimes it's great when you don't know you're supposed to lose. It's a fantastic thing. And we watched that 2 years ago in Albany. But when it comes time to win this whole thing, Buffalo was the class there with a mixture of youth and veteran leadership and a Hall of Fame goalie. Kind of the total package. And that I have to give total credit to Tugger, Steve Dietrich, who built that thing. If you watch the show when he was on with me about a month ago now, when he first took over, remember, it was just after Darius Kilgore and the problems he had away from the floor. And they were trying to fit and trying to win a championship. And they had no first-round draft picks. They had a team that was aged. And really, he had to go and roll up his sleeves and start from scratch. And he picked up Dane in 2016, 15. And then in 2017, it was Josh and it was Chase. And you had Priolo there and a few other people. And then everything kind of pieced itself together. And of course, the cherry on the sundae was when he was able to get Matt Vince, who only is about 45 minutes away from there, living in St. Catharines. Easy sell once his career was up with Rochester, and seen that on the wall. And there you go. Yeah, that was the cherry on the sundae.
I was going to say that's kind of where I see Toronto is, you are seeing, not to say you don't have any veterans on the team whatsoever, but you are seeing that core getting younger and younger. So you're going to have a very good team, no doubt about it. The skill levels there. But because you're younger, you're going to go through your lumps still, right? You're going to have those ups and downs. I mean, you're going to see it with the younger core, but maybe this is like a year or two down the road. Once they get kind of their feet under them at the pro level, you're going to kind of see them come into their own.
I don't think that they have much of a choice if they want to compete in 10 this year. And
it's really who else is out there other than Rose.
I have a feeling it'll be Rose and Goa because he has the most experience back there. But that makes two positional goalies. So two of the same style to relieve one another. I feel a little bit better if one is reactionary, reflex, and the other is, like Nick Rose, positional. So at least you can throw something different while they're taking a breath. Just to give the team something different to look at. Coming at you to change their shooting. Maybe mess them up a bit. But we'll see. Let's just, let's go with one step at a time. Let's hope it's ratified, the CBA. Let's hope they all like what they saw on the weekend. Kudos, because since we heard them on Lax Class mid of last week, they put 8 days together and went back and forth. And I guess the transparency was better. And Buffalo can play 8 goalies as long as Matt Vince is one of them. That's the end of that conversation right there. If Matt Vince isn't one of them, we're talking about how Buffalo had all these chances in the finals and couldn't win. Unless they're going to win 106 to 104. Matt Vince is the one who calls all the switches. Matt Vince is who calls the lower defense, the 3 goalies on the line. But having an athletic defense never hurts to make that work. But Matt Vince is first and foremost the reason why we've seen a three-peat. The rest of the stuff is, yes, probably the greatest team we've seen in years. But that's why I always work from back outward. The teams that have all the scoring in the world, they lose 18-17. So, but again, let's get back to the CBA. Let's hope that it gets ratified early in the week, that we can get on to free agency, see where these teams are going and what they're doing, and see what kind of motion there is. Maybe they're seeing stuff that we don't see. I would assume they would. I hope they do. And maybe somebody's not, maybe there's a UFA that's, going to fit right in real nicely. But what I see is a lot of parity in the league. And a couple of teams that are just a little notch ahead. So, as a fan, as long as we get the game started on time, I think we have a great year ahead of us. And I would hate to see anything spoil that, because I think that there's, if we can get this out and it goes out on the TV, on the plus and on the linear and the rest of it, it can only go up. And every year we gain more momentum. The fan bases are, fairly stable. Are they great? In some places, yes. In some places, not so much, but they're fairly stable. So, barring the difference in Comcast, which is a whole other realm and different political aspect. But as per, teams getting it, the idea is to get more eyes on it so that you get more viewership, so that you become a viable entity for ESPN or TSN or both. That's where the goal should be set. Never mind all the side things. That was what has to be first and foremost. That's who I need to hire in the league office. And that's their job 24/7, is to think about this and make this work, that the TV people take notice and work with us to make this an even better viewer thing. We already have a pretty good, I like the in-game and the TV presentation. I think it's come a long way from where it was. And now it's just about getting it that it can get off plus and more onto game of the weeks. I like the Friday night NLL thing. It worked with CFL in Canada. And it should take off if we have a game of the week at the same time every single week. And then people know where to watch and see different teams. And, this will get other markets into it because you're going to follow your own market. That's just, the way it's always been. But if I get to see other markets, the same thing there, and maybe there's something about that team that I like. Maybe something about that presentation that I like. Maybe I see the next big Jeff Teat idea that I like. Who knows? And then start getting in with the here in Ontario, OLA, Manitoba in Winnipeg, get in with the BCLA out west with Saskatchewan, whatever's governing there, and work towards cheaper tickets for the kids so you get them in there, and then you have the adults coming along with them because they're not going to walk in by themselves. Then you start taking care of that thing. Then when their team is away, they're watching it on plus. Numbers go up. And then they're getting their friends to watch it because everybody's talking to everybody. Just like that old commercial. And they told two friends, and so on and so on and so on. It works. It's worked till the end of time.
I was going to piggyback off Gary said, because I know, out here in Saskatchewan, at least the first few years, and I think it was a great marketing idea, and I think it worked, was they partnered with the local business, the local co-op, and offered $20 tickets. It was one section of the arena, $20 tickets. You go down to your local co-op gas bar, give them $20 to get you a ticket into the game. And it worked.
I used to see tickets for rock games at Costco. I don't see it anymore. Just a thought. Even if it's $5 cheap and it ends, get them in there. Let them make your decision once they see it. What's the harm?
Yeah.
Yep.
I know that way back when, I'm aging myself, A&P used to do Argos tickets with your groceries. If you wanted $6, you would have end zone tickets. Well, you had a bunch of people who had groceries and $6 tickets for games. Every single game. And it wasn't going to break the bank. And you make your deal, and that would be they get their advertising, you get your tickets out, people come in, they get your concessions, and you get your merch, and everything else works, right? And TV numbers when they're not there, because you have people who are invested because you're going to the games. And then you leave it to your in-game presentations and your stuff with the players before or after or both or whatever. And that's how it's done. Maybe we don't have to give away the captain's hats, though. Unless you're trying to sell me a boat, or maybe the winner gets a boat from a fan appreciation. I'd come back and give me a 20-foot yacht.
Well, sure, who wouldn't?
I don't think I have nowhere to put it, but well, maybe give me a smaller one. I put it in the bathtub or where my captain's at. Anyways, how the conversation has fallen, hasn't it?
Yeah. Boy, we need some lacrosse.
Lacrosse, yes.
And Roger's still striking Gary here.
Yeah.
Probably having a big inning or something. Please visit us 3, 4, 5 times a day because the news is always changing. It will continue to change. This is going to be a week where you want to stay with us because we will know it as quickly as we can to let you know it. And if a CBA is signed and when free agency hits and when all this stuff happens. And then just down the road a couple of weeks is training camp. So I am very hopeful from everything that I had heard away from everything. I am very, very hopeful that it's we should know something tomorrow or Tuesday, probably Tuesday, of something going on one way or another. And stick with us all because as soon as we know, we'll let you know. It is our privilege and our honor to be able to get you the news as quickly as we can, as accurately as we can, up to the minute. That brings us to last words. Shawn, let's start with you.
Yeah, more of the same, especially this week with the more positive news. It's a bit of a breath of fresh air when it comes to the CBA that we might actually be able to save the season. So yeah, let's just, keep our fingers crossed. And, I think it'd be a real disappointment if somehow this doesn't get ratified and the players vote it down. I think that's just a lose-lose situation. So I can't see that happening. So
I think there's just too much at stake, and I think everybody's realized it now when you start seeing an emotional Jamie on there. That the lax class from last week with Reed Reinhold and Zach Courier was informative as well, understanding the other side of it as well. And if you have an opportunity to get on Spotify, like Lacrosse Classified, Jake Elliott, and listen to the section with them, it really will add a layer to what's what. And it's not about greed. It's about transparency. And as long as there is a dialect, something that we've talked about for a bunch of weeks, as long as there's an open dialect and trust, they will be able to work through just about anything in this. So, Mike, to you. Love your shirt, by the way. And the cotton across. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, just echoing what Shawn said. It's great news compared to last week when it sounded like things were not good, far away.
Sky is falling.
Yeah. Let's hope they can get it done. If not this week, within the a quick enough window that the schedule isn't impacted.
Right. A reminder also that we will be doing more Kufla in the upcoming weeks as well. Been a little bit neglected on that with all the other stuff going on and interviews, and we'll get ourselves back talking about some Canadian field lacrosse. Being that not far from now, we'll be talking about Piscataway weekend, which is only about 4 weeks away. It's frightening how quickly everything's moving. 4 or 5 weeks, being that we're in the middle of October already. So my thing is just get this done. Just get this done so we can move to the next phase and a very quick free agency. It'll be a whirlwind once that hits. But it'll be one of those feel so good whirlwinds because we know that we're in good stead for at least a couple of years. So we don't have to go through this pain. Because Mike made a great point last week about this, and it's all the people that it's affecting that we don't talk about. We talk about players and owners and players, but the people who actually have to put food on their table, players are part-time, owners have other businesses. The ticket people, the people who work in the arenas, the people who do all the other things, this is their livelihoods. And if there is no season and no games, they have nothing. And that's just another statistic. So we need to actually think a little bit more than just about ourselves in all this and what I'd like and what you'd like and think about the big picture of what's best. And what's best is that this gets signed. It gets worked out neatly with give and take. And even if it needs to be visited again and leave a door open, that you can do things and have more we already have people who are outside of it taking a look at books. So, like, how much more do you need? It's not like somebody's just saying, well, I told it you, and that's what it is. We have outside groups looking at the books to make sure that it's copacetic. So, let's just get it done. And then we can move forward and we can talk about other things, like the stuff we like about the game. And if this team got this and you got that, the stuff we normally talk about. Now we can do it with a smile instead of this stern look of consternation we have on our face the last number of weeks. Don't like those lines. Anyways, we're going to leave it there this week. We appreciate it, as always, for you and your patronage onto our show, onto our pages, all the comments. We appreciate everything. And we are just absolutely deeply honored to have all you with us week in and week out, time in and time out, and all the fantastic ideas, comments, and suggestions. Please keep it coming. Please DM, keep all that stuff coming. Love it. That's what's going to make this game grow. It takes a village, not a person. And this is why I love this community and these people and everything around it. So until next week, remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher, sign with both names on that CBA, and we will see you all again next week. Take care, everybody.